Hi and welcome to our presentation on undergraduate student finance, looking particularly at the 2021-2022 academic year. My name's David. Today we're going to cover a quick overview of that UCAS application process. We're going to look at tuition fee loans. We're going to look at maintenance loans. We're going to look at other financial support that you may receive. We're going to look at repaying that loan, and we're going to look at the application process, and I'll give you some useful links at the end of the session that you can take away as you begin your student finance journey. So the UCAS journey, you register with them, you make your application, meeting those deadlines that they will set. You've got up to 5 choices that you'll put on your form. If you're applying for Oxford, Cambridge, medicine, veterinary or dentistry, your form is sent by the 15th of October. For everything else, you're aiming to get it sent by the 15th of January. As and when you send off those applications, we as universities start to make offers. They could be conditional, i.e. you've got to get a certain amount of points. They may be unconditional. Typically, if you've already got your level 3 qualifications, there could be an alternative course offer. And sadly, in some cases, we do have to decline learners. This puts you to kind of the springtime when you'll be making your firm and insurance choices. But this is crucially when you'll be starting your student finance application. Typically, student finance applications will go live in February of the year before you start university, and the closing date for those is typically towards the end of May. Student Finance have yet to confirm at the time of filming this presentation when that will close in 2021. I've been led to believe that it will be the Friday before students break up for half term in May. However, I would urge you to consult the Student Finance website, www.gov.uk/student finance, just to double check that date. You get your results in the summer. By that point, hopefully everything's gone well. We can confirm you onto your courses. If things haven't quite gone to plan, you haven't got into your firm or your insurance choice, then there is this clearing program when we will be there to help you find universities, courses, and sort of match you up there. Because we really want, if you want to come to university, we want to help you with that. So I know those of you in schools and colleges, your advisors will be there to support, as will we at universities to help you onto those courses. When we're thinking of university, we've got those 2 main costs. So tuition fees, which typically for an undergraduate programme, £9,250 a year. And then you've got any maintenance costs associated with your course. So that could be accommodation, it could be travel, food, course materials, all those different things that are out there. So your tuition fee loan, this is repayable, and that will cover all of the students' tuition fees up to the £9,250 a year. It's not means tested, so it means they're not looking at your household income, and it's available to everyone. Crucially, the thing to remember is that nothing is paid up front. So you haven't got to have that money put aside to pay for university. You apply for this, and that money is then paid directly to the university by the student loans company when you enroll. Okay, it doesn't pass through your bank account. It's not compulsory. As students, you can pay in full, or you can pay part of the tuition fee. So you're not compelled to have to take out that tuition fee loan. We then have maintenance loans, which are repayable, and these are on a sliding scale. So if you're living in the parental home, if you're living at home while you study, you can get up to £7,987 a year. If you're living elsewhere, so living away from that home and studying outside of London, you can get up to £9,488 a year. And then, as we know, living in London, the cost of living in the capital, the cost of transport and whatnot, there's a little bit extra money available to you. So you can see here, you earn up to £12,382 a year. You can get that through the maintenance loan. So I said it is on a sliding scale, depending on household income. The higher the household income, the less maintenance loan that you'll receive. So we've got on the screen here, you will see a table that showcases that the more the household income is, the less that you'll earn, the less that you'll get from that maintenance loan. So you'll see on the gov.uk website there is a student finance calculator, and I would encourage you to have a look at that. You can put in some basic details of household income, and it'll give you an idea of what money you might well be entitled to whilst you're studying at university. You can be assessed as an independent if you're over 25, if you're married or divorced, if you've got children, if you've got no living parents or you're estranged from them, if you're a care leaver, if you've got no means of contacting your parents or if it's not safe to do so, or if you can prove that you've supported yourself financially for at least the 3 years. And that would be a conversation you would need to have with student finance. So that payment process, as I've already said, tuition fee loans are paid directly to us as universities. Any maintenance loans, grants, bursaries or scholarships are paid directly to you as a student, typically in 3 instalments across the year. So the first instalment triggered by enrolment, so September, October time, and the second and third instalments are automatically paid at the start of each subsequent term, so typically early January and around about Easter time. In terms of extra financial support, there may be additional support out there available if you've got some additional needs, whether that's a disability, specific learning difficulties, a long-term health condition or mental health condition, if you've got children or adult dependents, if you study overseas as part of your UK-based course, or if you want on one of these healthcare courses that you'll see here. So you'll see some web links on the screen there, which will tell you some more and give you the absolute latest figures for any of these areas. So that whether that's the disabled students allowance, whether it's childcare or adult dependence, you'll find all the latest figures there. Scholarships and bursaries, lots been said about these, and I'm sure you've probably been doing your research on university websites and in prospectuses. And it could well be that it's granted on academic achievement. If you get particular grades, there might be a bursary that's payable to you. If your household income is below a certain amount, it could be subject specific if you excelled in a particular subject area. But it's not just universities that have bursaries and scholarships, which you'll find out on our websites. But sometimes you might find in your local area there are bodies, charities perhaps, who you can apply to who might have scholarships and bursaries available to you. Those of you in schools and colleges, I'm sure they will potentially get advertised to you by your careers teams. Of course, when you come to university, we are fantastic places to work. There's often student jobs fairs at universities, and those sort of welcome week events, there'll very often be local employers there who are looking to recruit. Typical sorts of jobs you might find on a university campus could be working on the reception desk, working in the catering outlets, in the sports centre, as a student ambassador perhaps. I'm sure you have met them at university open days or events where typically they're in a bright coloured hoodie and they might be taking you on tours or delivering presentations. That is paid work that you can find at a university, so do watch out for those student ambassador schemes. Ultimately, you are there to be a student, so do make sure that you get that balance between your academic work and any paid employment right. When it comes to repaying the loans, you only repay when you're earning above a certain threshold. From April 2021, that will be £27,295 a year. So you repay anything above that. Good news is you don't start to be reconsidered for repayments until the beginning of the tax year, i.e. April the 1st after you graduate. Any outstanding balance is wiped after 30 years. It's removed at source in the same way as your national insurance, your tax, your pension. So you haven't got to make an arrangement to pay that back again. The bank can hand over any money. And crucially, if your income drops below that threshold, repayments stop. So it's not like a mortgage or a car loan where you'll keep repaying. Okay, it is dependent upon that threshold. And if you're earning below it, if you take a career break for whatever reason, if you're made redundant, then repayments simply stop. As we said, the really good thing as well, after 30 years, any outstanding balance is wiped. In terms of repayments, you'll see here table. This is based upon April 2020 to March 2021. As we said, the threshold for repayments will increase from £27,295 a year from April 2021. And you can see further details regarding that on the Student Finance website, www.gov.uk/student finance. Rates of interest. So when you're studying at university, it's added at the rate of inflation plus 3%. If you're earning less than threshold, it is just added at the rate of inflation. If you're earning between, at the present time, £26,575 a year and £47,835 a year, that's the rate of inflation up to 3%. And if you're lucky enough to be earning above at present £47,835 a year, then you're looking at the rate of inflation plus 3%. Application information. As I said, typically the student finance applications will go live in February, February of the year in which you're going to be starting university in that autumn. And typically it will be you would need to get this application in by normally the Friday before students would break up for half term. Student Finance England have yet to confirm that at this point in time. But one thing that's really good to remember is you can apply with your first choice university. You don't need to have that confirmed place if things change at a later point in time. So perhaps you don't get into your first choice, you go to insurance. Then when it gets to that point in the summer, you just pick up the phone or contact Student Finance England and ask them to transfer that over. The same if you should enter into clearing as well. When you're starting your application, it would be useful if you've got your passport and Student Finance England can check your identity using valid UK passport details, the university and course details of the course that you hope to study, your bank account, importantly, and your national insurance number. You'll most likely have a parent or other sponsor supporting your application. So when you start your application online, within 24 hours, you'll be there. You'll have set up your parent, the people that you live with, on there. So they will need their national insurance number, details of the household's taxable income information based on the previous year, details of their personal taxable income based on the previous year, and details of any other child dependents. One of the things that I do want to highlight is if your income has dropped by 15% or more during the current tax year, then Student Finance England can reassess your application. And I'm aware that through the COVID pandemic, that may have affected some people. So do have those discussions with Student Finance. Some questions that parents will typically ask is, what does earned income include? So things such as wages, salaries, tips, or other taxable employee pay, long-term disability benefits received prior to minimum retirement age, and any net earnings from self-employment. Unearned income includes any interest from savings, benefits and pensions, and the rent from a property or room. Typically, Student Finance will verify that information from your national insurance number. So you may not need to send any documents in. However, if they do ask for them, please send them as fast as possible so that they can begin to get that assessment in place, ready to start to pay that money once the student is enrolled at university. Martin Lewis, many of you will have seen him on ITV, fantastic programme looking at much maximising people's incomes and highlighting potential areas where people could save money. On his website, www.moneysavingexpert.com, there's some really fantastic information. He's very passionate about student finance, and some of the points that he highlights is it is more like a graduate contribution or a tax than a loan in many respects, because it's repaid through the income tax system. You only repay it if you earn over a certain amount. The amount repaid increases with earnings, doesn't go on credit files. Debt collectors don't chase you for it. Bigger borrowing doesn't increase repayments. Many people will continue to repay for the majority of their working life. So you'll see some fantastic information on Martin Lewis's website, and I'd urge you to go and have a look at that, and some really good video content as well. Okay, so one of the things that Martin Lewis does is he changes the word about debts and loans. Okay, he thinks that's quite emotive language. So changing the word repay to contribute, and they do make a lot more sense. So you only need to contribute if you earn enough once you graduate. Your contributions are taken via the payroll. The more financially successful you are, the more you'll contribute in total. If you don't earn enough, you don't have to contribute, and you only have to contribute for 30 years, which to me certainly makes a lot more sense and makes them feel a lot more palatable perhaps than thinking about the idea of debt and loans. So as we said, that student finance application is done through the government website, www.gov.uk/student finance. All of the latest information is presented on there. This film is being made in November 2020, and we've quoted some of the figures that are upcoming for 2021. All the latest information you will find on that website. And again, as you're completing the application, I would urge you to go and have a look at that. Okay, some great resources here. Student Finance, Facebook, Twitter, student room page. Again, well worth having a look at. Some points to remember. It's important to make the right university and course choice. Tuition-free loans are available to all eligible students. Your future repayments are very much linked to your income, not to what is owed. It'd be great if you research all the financial options that are available out there: bursaries, scholarships, part-time employment. Do remember to apply online on time. You don't need to wait for that confirmed place. You can make any changes to the course and university you need to as we move along. Check out, of course, all your details are correct before submitting your application. And of course, remember to reapply every year. So at Newman, you'll see details of our upcoming open days on our website. We've got live webinar sessions that run on a whole range of topics, including student finance. There's some resources available on our website on the Student Recruitment and Outreach page that will help you as you continue your journey towards higher education. And got a couple of bonus links here for you. So UCAS website, I'm sure you'll be very familiar with as you're making your applications. And last but not least, that student finance website where you'll find all the latest information on student finance. Thank you very much for listening and good luck with your student finance application.